If you are just starting to lift, or you're a little bit into your lifting journey and you don't feel confident with everything you're doing or everything you know, I am going to tell you the 10 mistakes I made as a beginner gym girl. There's a lot more than 10, but this is where we're starting. This year is your year to become consistent with the gym, to finally put in the work and see the results. I know you're going to. There's so many little things that you can do that are going to make such a big difference. So, if you're ready to achieve your dream body, let's dive in. After a year and a half, I have finally learned how to train and diet in a way that I can see results. I don't want you to be putting in all the energy that I put in and not seeing anything come from it. Learning what's best for your body takes time, but I think if you can avoid the 10 mistakes that I made, you'll achieve your dream body a little bit faster. The first mistake that I made was that I didn't take protein intake seriously. Diet accounts for about 80% of fitness results and body transformation.
80%.
So no matter how much you're lifting or how frequently you're lifting, you're not going to see results without the proper diet. If you're lifting to increase muscle mass, you should be eating about 0.5 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, so I weigh about 150 currently. So I aim to hit a minimum of 75 grams and a maximum of 150 grams of protein every single day. Every day. It's hard. Sometimes you have to eat when you're not hungry, and it's hard. But you do see results. This mistake kind of carries into my second mistake, which was that I didn't consider all macros of my diet, only protein and calories. Not all protein is necessarily good protein. I used MyFitnessPal for 1 week just to analyze what was wrong with my usual diet, and I found that although I was within my calorie range, and I was hitting about 100 grams of protein a day, I was eating twice as many fats as I should have. I did this in August, and I made small changes to my diet or found better alternatives, and I lost 10 pounds in 3 weeks.
I never lose weight, so that was a big deal.
On to my third mistake, which is honestly something that I still do occasionally. I'm sorry. I was not going until failure with my sets. Most muscle growth comes from your last few sets before failure. Obviously, when you're learning correct form, it might be good to stay in your comfort zone until you can gain some confidence and muscle memory. But once you have that down, training until failure will not only produce better results, but it'll also leave you feeling more accomplished. With all of that being said, training until failure does require proper recovery, which I will get into later. My fourth mistake, and I feel that this might be very common, maybe, I avoided compound exercises for way too long. For my first 8 months of lifting, I barely benched. Barely. I didn't have the proper form down, and I was too embarrassed by how little I could bench that I didn't even try. I did the same thing with conventional deadlifting, but for 15 months.
That's terrible. Okay.
If you're doing that, I understand. I've been there. But it's time to make a change. It seriously blows my mind that I wasted so much time not even doing compound exercises. I was so stuck on accessories that I ignored like the most important part of your lift.
I was scared. I don't know.
Compound exercises burn more calories, build more overall strength, and improve core strength and flexibility. Okay, if you have the proper form for your compound exercises, or for any exercise really, and you're keeping your core engaged, you will develop abs over time, as long as your diet is supporting it as well. But you might not even really need to hit abs if you're training properly with everything else. Bottom line, compound exercises should not be avoided by any means. My fifth mistake was that I avoided asking for help with form or for a spotter for a long time. Honestly, I still don't always ask for a spotter because it can be weird and I don't like going up to men at the gym. So if I'm gonna be pushing myself, I definitely have my boyfriend there to spot me. I know that improper form can leave you embarrassed, but more importantly, it can leave you injured.
Obviously, that's not good.
Lifting incorrectly will prolong your progress and leave you feeling sore and hurting frequently. And that's not a fitness journey anybody wants to go through. You need to remember that every single person who lifts started with nothing. They started nothing. No one is born a lifter. I think that more people are willing to help you than you might realize. Learning as much as you can online and hoping that you'll do it right at the gym might work for some exercises, but perfect form might actually be achieved through feedback from others. Take all the help you can get. We gotta get perfect form. There's no excuse. Get your perfect form. My 6th and 7th mistakes revolve around the mental aspect of lifting and self-perception, but I definitely lacked self-compassion for a long time. Progress is not linear. Obviously, everybody knows this. There would be many times I would quite literally crash out at the gym. I've cried so many times, it's embarrassing. Life happens and you can't always be as consistent as you should be. Diet, sleep, and mental and physical wellness play a role in your performance at the gym. I knew all of this, yet I would still blame myself when I wasn't able to hit 80 or 90% of my maximum. In my mind, I would be like,
I've done this before and I've done it well, so why can't I do it again? Or why am I struggling right now?
and that's just, it's not a healthy mindset. I think self-compassion gets better with time as you're able to prove to yourself that you do get stronger eventually, but staying negative will do nothing for you. It'll hurt you, physically and mentally. Say some positive affirmations, get in the right headspace. It'll make a big difference and make lifting more enjoyable. My 7th mistake was that I compared myself to others way too often. Self-comparison is inevitable,
Especially because of social media.
I think for my first full year of lifting, I would avoid all gym girl content. I was so discouraged by my slow progress, and honestly, I was just envious. Now that I'm finally starting to see my own growth, I can look at fitness influencers through different eyes, and I learn from them as much as I can. But the first year of comparison was so bad for me. It's important to acknowledge that everyone who lifts grows at different rates, and a huge factor is genetics. Also, many influencers aren't completely transparent about steroids. Just be mindful of that. My 8th mistake was that I avoided cardio for a year and a half. The past month, I have finally been able to be consistent with cardio. That's insane. I always put off cardio because 1, I have asthma, and 2, I knew that I would only be burning about 100 to 200 calories for the amount of time that I wanted to put in, so it just didn't seem worth it to me. I don't have extensive knowledge on the benefits of cardio, and I definitely don't push myself still. But I do know that the 10 minutes of stairs that I do after my lift leaves me feeling so good that I'm excited to come back to the gym. It's also obviously strengthening my heart and lungs, which is something I definitely need to do for better lifting and general health and well-being. Moving on to my 9th mistake, I relied on motivation and going with a gym buddy for a little too long. For my first 6 months of lifting, I always needed someone to go to the gym with me. This set me up for failure because there would be way too many times when my partner couldn't lift with me. So I either just wouldn't go, or I would go and feel really uncomfortable and wouldn't be able to perform to the best of my ability. Forming the habit of lifting on your own is what will actually lead you to be more consistent. My 10th mistake is something that I'm definitely still working on right now, but it's that I neglected stretching and warming up. I still don't know a lot about stretching, but it really is a requirement for safety and muscle growth. Obviously, stretching prevents injuries.
We all know this.
But it also helps your muscles transition to recovery, which is what's needed for repairment and growth. I've learned that it's best to do dynamic stretching before your lift and static stretching after. Static stretching lengthens muscles and supports recovery, whereas dynamic stretching more so warms up your body for exercise. If you do your static stretching before your lift, your muscles might be too relaxed and it might actually lead to higher chances of injury. Those are 10 of the mistakes that I made when I started lifting. I hope that you can learn from me and that you can better yourself from it. If you had to take anything away from this video, it is to eat a diet that supports your goals, get your protein in, maintain compassion and minimize comparison, and work on perfecting your form and recovery. Yeah. I hope that's not too general. I am so excited for you to achieve your dream body. I know that you will. It's just a matter of knowledge, consistency, and discipline. Okay? With that being said, thank you for watching and see you next Tuesday.